Don't engage alone. We do this together.
Yeah!
Yeah!
We got it! We got
New 52 booklet.
it! Somebody clip this one.
Welcome to the return of Comic Talk. I'm Jared. I'm here with Nick from the Phoenix Press. What's up, buddy?
Comic Talk, Comics Watch, they're all so similar nowadays.
They're all so similar. So, you guys may be wondering, so what's going on with Indie Wednesday? Well, that show's going to go on a little bit of a sabbatical. The way it's going to work is that I'll still do indie reviews like I'm doing part of with this episode and indie interviews. But this is also good. I wanted to bring back the commentary show because people really enjoyed that and they wanted me to like comment on stuff that didn't require like a 40-minute to like, in the case of Brit and my show, 3-hour podcast. So we're like, let's just stick to like, yeah, I know. Let's just stick to like a 10 to 20 minutes, max a half hour, like we'll show. And then for you Comics League members, this will be the show from now on that you get a day early. So to start off, Nick and I are going to talk about our top 5 favorite Batman stories. These are Batman stories that every Batman fan should know and read and enjoy. So the way it's gonna work is that I figure I'll give my list, or Nick can start, and what we'll do is we'll tell each story. We'll talk about why we like it. If we like have both read it and enjoy it, we can have a little discussion about it. And then I figure in between Nick and I, we'll talk about a little indie comic that some old man was a big part of.
Yeah, I hear this comic was written by a bit of a hack.
I hear he was a bit of I hear he walks around with a walker.
I hear he has a fondness for the color red, so.
Yeah. It's almost like he's a phoenix. So what are you gonna say, Nick?
Before we start, I think we should kind of start the list with the book that's on both of our lists. We'll both talk about it together.
Yeah.
Just get that out of the way.
Batman Hush.
Yeah. It's like if there was a thing for like perfect Batman story, it would be Hush.
Because here's the thing about Hush that's interesting about it is that in that single volume, Loeb and Lee basically give you an introduction to the Batman world because practically every Batman villain shows up in this single volume. You get his relationship with Superman. You essentially here's in a nutshell who the Batman character is. Plus, anytime Jim Lee draws anything, it's gold.
It's got like what are some of your favorite moments? Like one of my favorites is like Crypto basically staring down Poison Ivy, like that part. But probably my favorite line is when Batman's fighting Superman. It's like essentially Clark is a good person, and essentially I am not.
Yeah, that's my favorite moment too, because that's essentially the Batman character. My favorite moment is when Catwoman punches Poison Ivy. Superman goes, "Was that necessary?" And both Batman and Catwoman go, "Yes." I was glad that was in the animated movie, so I'm like, yes. The animated movie that screwed up the ending, but it was still good.
The funny thing is, like, why has Poison Ivy never used her pheromones on Superman before? It seems like an obvious thing to do.
Well, it's not like they meet each other. It's not like they fight each other on the regular, though.
Yeah, but controlling Superman, that's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, it could be they're all afraid of Batman. That's what I think. It's like a lot of the villains are like there are some things the villains won't do, even though it'll make their job easier, because they're afraid of the Bat retribution.
Yeah, all Bruce has to say to Ivy is, "Don't make me get the Roundup."
Or he'll say, "Don't make me get the weed killer."
Roundup is weed killer.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that. So
that was a joke.
Now, what's cool about this story is that this was later retconned when a certain other tale came out that I'm going to talk about. It's on my list. A character comes back. When the story came out, they said it was a fake out. When this retcon came out, it said no, this was the actual character. I'm burying the lead a little bit, but I'll get there when I get to the story.
Oh, I know. I get it.
Yeah, you get it. You get it. So yeah, that's the story that's pretty much on both of our lists.
Talk about a red herring.
Yeah, talk about a red herring. And this person was caught red-handed.
Red-handed under the red hood.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So do you want to go? So in terms of in terms of our regular list, do you want to go first? Or do you want me to go first?
All right. So I'm gonna start this off. So for my number 2, which both of our number 1s are Hush, by the way. So for my number 2, I am going to pick a storyline that I won't shut the frick up about, and Jerry gets annoyed about it. Batman War Games. I'm also going to loop in War Drums with this because they're kind of like War Drums is the prequel, and the War Games is like the actual story. That's going to be my number 2. And these are in no particular order. I'm just listing them as how I feel like it. So. I really like the story because it's basically where the Bat family kind of calls out Bruce. It's where Bruce does not look the best. Basically, one of his contingency plans causes a all-out gang war. And yeah, sure, it was caused by someone else triggering into him and not into him. But like, still, I really like it because it's like it shows Batman as not being perfect. And I think in this day and age,
God world, that's important.
No, in a post because I'm Batman world. In a post, Batman can beat anyone with prep time. I see. There are 2 ways to view Batman. You can view him as the Bat or the Man. I know that's a bit cheap, but like what I mean by that is Batman is a hero that can bruise, broken, bleed, and dead. And he's like the one human among the gods of the Justice League. That's his appeal on the Justice League. Or the Bat, as in like, Batman could beat anyone with prep time.
To a degree, he can't when you actually think about it. But that's a good point. And
I mean, Batman's gone up against some heavy... Like, see, the thing is, when he goes up against the heavy hitters and comes out on top, it's just all the more like the Darkseid one, that moment that we love from, it's because he outwits Darkseid and gets him to respect him. It's because of it's not that because he's so powerful, it's because he's so smart. But like those moments are great because he is an underdog. Like Darkseid could just like obliterate him without a thought.
And he did in Final Crisis. Which that was a very interesting. I say did because Grant Morrison had to Grant Morrison it up with the whole died thing. But
to be fair, that did give us Pirate Batman, so I view it as a success.
Okay, yeah, there is that. Yeah, I enjoyed War Games. The thing about it, what I liked is I also liked how it gave it gave a lot of other Bat family members a little bit more of the spotlight. I mean, hell, Jason Todd shows up in that story. Then you have like the Stephanie Brown briefly serving as Robin. At least she did in the storyline that I had.
Also, the other thing to note is this storyline is the ascension of Black Mask. Like Black Mask had existed, but this is where Black Mask really stepped up as an actual legitimate villain of his rogues gallery. Like he had existed long time before this, but I feel like it's War Games where Black Mask really came into his own. Yeah,
and I like that, and because he's a pretty dope villain on the more mob side, and
he's basically DC's Kingpin. Let's be honest.
And yeah, he actually is, and it's really funny. The one thing I like the most about War Games is that it places Batman in an almost impossible situation, and Batman has to defuse it. I love because that's a true test of all that Batman is: his skills and then his mental acuity.
Yeah,
and
the Bat and the Man.
Yeah. So actually, Hush is not my number 1 Batman story. Do you want me to give you my number 1?
Please.
I'm going to go really basic. Dark Knight Returns.
That is very basic.
Because here's the reason for that. And the Keaton movie helped massively with this. But this is when Batman went from the jokey Batman to the don't screw with me Batman.
I mean, you do realize the Keaton movie would have never happened without Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah, exactly.
Literally, literally. Like
Mhm.
if you go look at like the behind the scenes, the only reason they were okay with going that dark was because of Dark Knight Returns. Like I think they literally sent Tim Burton Dark Knight Returns. So the only reason Batman '89 exists is because of Dark Knight Returns.
Well, yeah, and the other thing is that was a Batman comic that was getting like attention and like Rolling Frickin' Stone. So when does that happen?
Yeah, that was the first time. Because you got to realize the comic scene, like we were starting to get like graphic novels were starting to come out this time. Like late '80s was a really crazy time. Like you like Watchmen was kind of coming around the same time frame, give or take a few years. But Batman Dark and Watchmen were like the first graphic novels that were actually reviewed as legitimate literature.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And that's when comics started to be looked upon more seriously. It didn't really catch on until the MCU, arguably. We have our disagreements on that, Nick, but I understand that. But
you're literally like you're literally hand waving away 15-20 years of comic stuff.
Yeah, but Nick, you even after Spider-Man and X-Men came out, if you took out a comic book, you were still seen as a dweeb. You take out an Iron Man shirt after Iron Man, sorry, you're good. You were seen as cool then.
You do not realize how popular those Spider-Man movies were.
No,
you don't realize how popular
I was alive then.
Like I remember 2003 sitting in a gym, and I was talking to my best friend's mother. And she says, and this, just a normal mother, and we're just talking about stuff. It's like, oh, I like watching Marvel movies. This was 2003.
Mm-hmm.
So even by the early 2000s, like comic book movies were having mainstream penetration.
Mainstream, but it wasn't achieved until the MCU. It was starting to. I will give you that. I argue it was started. Those movies definitely started it. It's just it was more solidified with the MCU. But anyway, back to what I was talking about with Dark Knight Returns.
That's a video. That is a video. Right
As a video. The thing about Dark Knight Returns also is kind of funny. Is I see a lot of younger comic book fans starting to like say, I hate Dark Knight Returns and I wish they never written it.
It's the contrarian. It's
Yeah, but here's the thing. These are the people that like. First off, these are the people that pirate comics. So I don't take their opinion for anything, but this is also people that don't really understand the cultural impact on the Batman character, ignoring the mainstreamification of Batman. Just the cultural shift that book brought to the Bat character it's essentially the way I like to explain it. It's like going from Adam West to Ben Affleck.
You're missing 40 years worth of
no. What I mean, it's like going from campy ass Batman to oh my gosh, Batman's coming after me, I gotta run.
Oh, so it's almost like going from Adam West to Batman '89. Like
I was just using the example that I know the best. So with Dark Knight Returns, the other interesting thing is how much of DC this would influence, because this is the reason why whenever they restart the continuity, whenever Superman and Batman first meet, they fight.
It's like action figure. You're just matching them together.
Yeah, it's like action figure. That's what it is. Because when people realize I'm tired of Batman versus Superman fighting, well, it's popular. It's like the thing of people saying, "Can we stop with the evil Superman?" And I'm like, tell the general audience to not like that trope. The reason why they're doing it is because people like it. It's popular.
Yeah. I really feel like the speech that Lex Luthor said in BVS really sums it up. Like day versus night, they're so opposite. Like this is why like Batman and Superman are like the ultimate Reese's peanut butter cup. They are peanut butter and jelly. I mean, they're peanut butter and chocolate. Okay, they're so different. They're so opposite. But you put them together, it is somehow the most flavorful combo. I don't know. This analogy.
You said my analogies were bad. Jeez.
It makes sense, kind of, but like you get what I'm saying. It's
From
like
a certain point of view. There you go. I had to. But
one of these days I'm gonna give someone the knuckle. They're like, what are you doing?
yeah, I'm gonna be like, and you're gonna mean to give him the finger. But the other thing, so I'm gonna, but ultimately with Dark Knight, it's a solid Batman story that really deals about Batman's impact on society, and it also has one of the most accurate animated adaptations like of all time. So that alone gives it a punch up. But
I do like the story, but Frank Miller's art, and I'm gonna be charitable here, is an acquired taste.
his art in this one was better than it was in the sequel, Dark Rises Again.
Well, the Rises Again, that was done like what,
I
5-10
think
years
Strikes
later
Again.
or something.
But my point is, there's a definitely the way I see it, I liked his art in this one way more because this one at least looked a little better than Strikes Again. I think
It's too rough. I'm sorry.
well, that was the intention of the story. This is a more rough and gritty Batman.
I'm sorry. Frank Miller's a great writer. I love him as a writer. Don't get me wrong. I love him as a writer. I just don't like him as an artist. I don't think he's a very good artist.
You wonder why a lot of the sequels, after Strikes Again, he didn't draw anymore. Except for he did the backups for the Master Race, I think.
I remember when he did the comic book that must not be named in the mid 2000s. The All-Star.
Oh, you mean All-Star Batman and Robin, the Boy Wonder? That's on my list. I'm only kidding. I'm only kidding.
He actually did an alternate cover with Batgirl in his style. It actually wasn't that bad.
True. You see, the whole thing about the acquired taste, that's a lot of artists like John Romita Jr. or something like that. Well here's the thing.
Like John Romita Jr.
I like his art style. It depends on the character. Spider-Man, he's fine. Superman, it looks kind of odd. It's just something about it. But
well, when he does Marvel, like John Romita's Spider-Man is great. His work on Kick Butt is great. I don't know if I can say
thank
the
you.
other
That's
word.
fine. But yeah, I agree with you on that, and I like that. So yeah, that's my number one book. Hush is number two. What's your next favorite Bat book, Nick?
All right, so for me, we're talking about like quintessential comic book stories. Actually, Jared, you give yours. I have to go to fix something out.
All right, Three Jokers, and I like this one because it's. I know that the hype kind of hurt this book because it's following Darkseid War, and people thought that for one thing, it wasn't in continuity. It was. Jeff Johns confirmed. And people were concerned that with certain creative choices. My opinion is that the story's just take it isolated from what happened around it. It's a cool detective story involving the three characters in the Bat family who arguably have been affected by the Joker the most. And plus, Jeff Johns' art plus Jason Fabok's art is incredible to look at.
Mm-hmm.
They actually have this great scene, Nick. Have you read Three Jokers?
I have not.
They have this great scene where Batman essentially goes to Joe Chill's cell, and when he's talking to Joe Chill, when he starts to talk to him, his voice kind of like chokes up a little bit because it's Joe Chill. So he's like kind of like dealing with that. And then there was this other scene where he saves Joe Chill's life. And then Joe Chill basically tells him, I never got to tell Bruce Wayne that I was sorry.
So basically Batman was like, all right, Joe chill. Okay. I could have done that better, but all right. So my next one, we're talking about quintessential Batman stories. The Death in the Family.
Nice.
I'm sorry. This is the Robin Lives version. I actually need to read this, but like, I really like the Death in the Family storyline. Have you read it?
Yes, I have. I did.
It is insane. Like, my favorite moment is when Joker gets named the ambassador of Iraq, and Iran, and he's got diplomatic immunity to
And
come
even
into the
Superman is like, "There's nothing we could do, Bruce."
Oh my god! Like, I swear the writer's like, okay, so I just watched one of the Lethal Weapon movies, and I want to use that plot. That's why I said
essentially. But it's kind of funny how
I
like
would. I early see in an alternate reality, you'd see a batarang come out of his head. No. There'd be a bullet, and Red Hood be like, "It's just been revoked."
Yeah, exactly. I love that one.
But yeah. So basically, Jason Todd. I mean,
Robin
there's a
too.
lot of Robin too. I mean, there's a lot of meta commentary involved with the storyline because, like, to understand it, you got to realize what was going on at the time. Like, Jason was basically kind of like the rebound Robin to a degree.
That's great. I love that. That's good.
I mean, if you think about it, it makes perfect sense.
Kind of was, yeah.
And he wasn't really well loved. Because you gotta remember, Dick Grayson had been Robin for like 40 years before this, because he appeared in like the 30s and 40s. So like he had been Robin for like 2 generations at least,
Mm-hmm.
And so Jason Todd came out. He was a very different Robin, more aggressive. People didn't like him, so they did the phone in, and Jason did. And apparently, they did do an alternate version where he lived, they've shown like art of it. So basically what they did recently is they took that art and then they now published this version, which I need to read it. But I was going to talk about Death of Family. I had to grab this issue.
That works. That's a good one because it has the interesting thing about it is that the element of tragedy that comes in on that, because Jason Todd died because he was trying to track down his birth mother, and when he tracks her down, she's in league with the Joker. And that's gotta be like nuts. And then he gets beaten with a crowbar and then blown up, which is very Joker-esque.
And this leads into another storyline, which I think Jared's just about to talk to right now.
No, actually, I have 2 more.
Oh, dang it! That would have been a perfect segue.
All right, I'll talk about it now. Number 5, Under the Red Hood. And by the way, I got to talk about this real quick. So in Hush, when Batman is fighting Jason Todd, originally in the story, it was just Clayface disguised as Jason Todd. What Judd Winnick retconned in Under the Red Hood was that when Batman first sees Jason, that's actually Jason. Just what happened, there was a portion where like Batman and Jason were fighting. They got separated, and then Jason switched places with Clayface.
I'm sorry, but
that's really stupid. I know it's dumb.
I was trying to hold back. I didn't want to be too negative,
but it is kind of stupid. But it's nowhere near as stupid where they try to explain that. Okay, so you know how Jason Todd came back to life? All right, so Superboy Prime was in the paradise dimension, and he was surrounded by the walls of reality. He was so frustrated by the superheroes getting dark that he started punching the walls of reality, and it created ripples. Now, the funny part, they could have salvaged this and made it so that those punches revived other characters as well, but they were like, no, just Jason Todd.
Can we all agree the New 52 version, which I believe the movie basically kind of like, did the movie use the New 52 version?
Yeah, it did. Because they couldn't do Superboy Prime because Infinite Crisis was not happening during the movie.
But I think, yeah. So,
well, actually, the way it works is that with the punch origin, that's what I'm gonna call it. The retcon punch happens. Jason wakes up buried. He claws his way out, but his head is still split open from the crowbar. Then what happens is he shows up. Is that he wanders. He gets into a coma. Talia al Ghul picks him up and puts him in the Lazarus pit.
I like the movie version better.
Yeah, this is so much simpler.
Yeah, because like Ra's al Ghul hires the Joker to distract Batman while he's doing his thing, and then Joker goes too far, kills Robin, and like Ra's al Ghul does feel bad about like that whole thing and revives like because like yeah, I could see Ra's al Ghul because Ra's al Ghul does have some honor, and like killing Robin, I think because he respects the detective, and like killing his ward like that, I think that's a little bit too far for Ra's al Ghul. So
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Even the
I
international terrorist has standards.
I mean, to be fair, even the Joker has standards. I mean, have you seen like when he met the Red Skull?
No, I haven't. Is that in one of the Marvel DC crossovers?
Yeah. So the Red Skull is literally a Yahtzee. Okay, and when the Joker finds out that he's a Yahtzee, he's like, I'm still an American, and then he refuses to work with the Red Skull because even the Joker won't work with Yahtzees.
That's great. I love that. You know it's bad when the Joker won't even work with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. I like that. And plus, the other thing about Under the Red Hood is that the stupid part of Under the Red Hood is that's where we get the whole, if I kill one person, I'll kill everybody. And I'm like, no, you won't. Stop it. That's the stupidest thing I have ever seen. And then it also gets the moment where Jason goes, just kill the Joker. You can stop. How many graves has he filled? How many friends has he paralyzed? You know, I would have thought I would be the last one you'd let him get killed. And I'm like, you know what? He's got a point. At this point, he shot Barbara in the spine.
Yeah, but also Batman has a good counterpoint. See. Okay, this is gonna be a really stupid. Are you ready for another stupid analogy? So for Batman, killing is like Pringles. Once you pop, you just can't stop.
No, that is
I can't believe I just did that, but yes.
But that's an extremely BS thing, because if Batman thinks he's that close to taking a life and he's that concerned about it, he shouldn't be going outside and being a crime fighter. I don't buy that whole, if I kill one person, I'll kill everyone else. No, you don't.
I mean, look at the storylines where Batman does kill. He becomes a murdering psychopath that is really hard to take down.
Really? Because in Dark Knight Returns, he reverts back into normal Batman.
Well, that's because he's been written by Frank Miller, who he himself is a psychopath, so.
No, but what I mean is that he clearly kills at least one person in that book, and he's fine.
I think I'm going to invoke the different versions of Batman argument.
No, but I'm saying even the problem with the whole, again, it calls into mind a Batman being a capable superhero. Because if you're that concerned,
did you just imply that Batman is not a capable superhero?
Yes, I did. Because here's the thing.
Oh my God!
Here's what I'm gonna say.
That out. You need to take that out.
Yes. Here's what I'm gonna say. Because all right, let me put it this way, particularly with the Joker. Batman is at least 50% responsible for everything the Joker does, because he throws him into Arkham, knows he's going to break out, and yet doesn't do anything. Knows that chances are reform's not going to happen with the Joker.
To be fair, okay, so there's a meta explanation, and then there's more of an Anyverse one. The meta one is, we need the Joker to break out, otherwise we wouldn't have a comic book every other week.
No, I understand that reason. I know why they would never do that.
But the other thing is, that's also a failing of Arkham. But I will say, if I were to call it Batman, if the Joker is constantly breaking out, why don't you just have Amanda Waller lock him up? Like, I think Amanda Waller, why don't you put him in like one of those task force X-holes, like in Black Adam?
You really wanted the Joker on the Suicide Squad, Nick?
No. Like that cell that Black Adam had in the movie.
That's in the movie. That doesn't exist.
Or put the Joker on ice. Like, literally.
Here's a better idea, Nick. You ready? Hey, Superman, can I borrow that Phantom Zone projector?
That too. Like, at least he's still alive.
But you see, again, they won't do that. But again, the issue is, again, every person that the Joker kills is partly Batman's fault. And yes, I'm going to stand by that point, because if you knowingly repeat the same thing over and over again, if you knowingly put the person in jail again, knowing they're going to break out and knowing they're not going to be reformed, guess what? And you're responsible partially.
Jared, you just came up with your next video idea or your next short idea.
I already did that.
No, you want a Lois Lane style reaction? There you go.
No, I already did this type of video a while ago.
Do it again as a short.
I think did I do it as a short? All right, I'll do it as a short. But the point is, he is partially responsible for what the Joker does. And here's the thing: I've had people say, "Well, Commissioner Gordon would arrest him." Under self-defense law, sorry, James Gordon can't do anything.
Though I do I'm sorry, but I know we just spent 5 minutes talking about killing the Joker, but one of my favorite moments from Batman Hush.
I know what moment you're gonna.
As soon as I said it, you knew exactly. Is when this exact moment is when he is beating the Joker to death, and he's rationalizing in his head, and all of a sudden, Gordon comes up, puts a gun to his head, and says, "He's done all these things. He paralyzed my daughter, but I swear to you now, if you kill him, I will hunt you down."
Which, by the way, self-defense law, Batman's covered. Because he walked off. Because here's what happened in that scene. He walks out of the theater, sees a dead Thomas Elliot. I'm doing this again because what happens later in the story, he's not really dead, but he sees what he seems to be a dead Thomas Elliot. Joker standing over him with a gun, and he just got out of a battle with his known associate. I think he can be reasonably suspicious that Joker's that my life is in danger now. So you know what? That works.
I'm not sure that's exactly how you apply the law, but
the point is there is.
I'm not a lawyer, neither are you. So
the point is that there is a certain degree of when self-defense law and stand your ground law applies, and Jim Gordon wouldn't be able to do a single thing about it.
Well, stand your ground is really only in certain states.
Is stand your ground in New Jersey? Because I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but Gotham is considered to be in New Jersey, right?
I believe so. So, as far as I'm aware, Gotham is New Jersey. So, take a look.
They do not have stand your ground, so the person cannot legally protect themselves in all circumstances. That's true. All right, but regular self-defense applies with the Joker when Batman's engaged in combat with him in any way. As soon as the Joker attacks Batman, at that point, his life or Jason or Dick or Tim's life is in danger.
I still feel like they probably, at the very least, charge him with manslaughter. Because I think in that scenario, manslaughter would apply.
How would it?
Because manslaughter is killing with a purpose. Involuntary and this for example, involuntary manslaughter is, let's say you're in a fight and you go too far without realizing it. That's involuntary. And by the way, I am not a lawyer. I do not like.
Neither am I. I just happened to take a self-defense class in college.
I reserve the right to be completely wrong about everything. So don't.
As he normally is.
Fluff off. But I still think manslaughter at the very least, if we're talking charging for killing the Joker in the scenario, I think manslaughter at the very least.
But on that, I think what Batman's really concerned about is that if he's brought before court, he's going to have to unmask, and that's what he's really concerned about, which that I get. If they gave me that excuse, I'd be fine with it. And hell, here's the other thing. In 3 Jokers, considered in continuity, Jason kills one of the Jokers, and Batman's basically okay, fine.
To be fair, it's Jason, so...
No, but still, because compare that to Batman's previous encounters with Jason, where he's no, you can't kill people. At least he's yeah, it's fine. It's the Joker, and after what the Joker did to Jason, I think he didn't excuse Jason saying, yeah, he's totally fine, but he said when Barbara challenged him on it, he goes, you don't know what Jason went through.
Yeah, and to be fair, that gives Batman some distance because, like, he didn't kill the Joker. His hands weren't on the trigger. He didn't pull the trigger. He didn't even set him up. Like, he didn't even tell. Like, he had no involvement.
That's why
with
what
that
Batman
whatsoever.
should do is say, "Hey, Jason, you know how I told you not to kill the Joker? Well, April Fools."
And then immediately on the phone, you hear that? Boom!
You're
It's
a and then he's like, "You kidnapped the Joker, didn't you?" No.
It's like you had the Joker tied up, didn't you? Like, why? I don't know. I just felt like roughing him up a little bit.
In case you ever got this, because I ever got this call.
Oh, God, I love you, brother.
Yeah, but that's why that the no kill rule doesn't make sense. And Pika, shout out to Pika Shades, he did a great video talking about where the no kill rule should be changed to no murder, because the way I always thought of it, these superheroes do not have a no kill rule. They have a no kill as a first action rule. They will try every single other scenario before they resort to lethal force. Hence, Wonder Woman with Maxwell Lord, Superman anytime he fights General Zod, Batman occasionally. But that's my thing. They're not averse to killing. There's averse to that being your number one first option when you arrive in the room.
Yeah, but then you have the argument of who makes these people like judge, jury, executioner. Like, who are they to decide the fates of these people? Like, this is literally the whole entire point of Justice League Unlimited Season 2. We're literally going through that scenario right now.
Or Injustice. But here's the difference. You rely on them to protect you. The GCPD works with Batman.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Working with the character, you still need a rule for, like, I will say in the Man of Steel scenario, I will defend that because he had no choice. So I'm not.
That's my point. That's what I base that off of.
If it's a have no choice scenario, I'm a bit more sympathetic. But I don't want them then because here's the other thing. If we're gonna go from the meta angle, if you kill all your villains, who is the person gonna go against? Like,
no, I know that, and this would be a great story if we know that they were gonna do a reboot, and then they just have a story where like they kill all the villains and the reboot. But
see, this is the reason why they don't kill their villains, is because then you don't have any villains to fight.
That's true, and I get that. And the thing about with DC, they've been clever enough. They haven't really put Batman in a situation where he didn't have any other options. But case in point, here's the funny thing. In Tom King's Batman, Bane kills Dick Grayson, and this is when he became Rick Grayson, shoots him in the head, Batman breaks his neck, and then leaves him in the middle of the woods. And then in the next issue, they say, oh yeah, he did that because he knew there was a village nearby that would pick up Bane. That's how he got away from the Batman kills Bane.
Where's the storyline where Batman breaks the Joker's neck in the Batmobile?
Where is that? I don't remember that one.
I do know one. That, right?
I think I've heard of that. I do know one. He walled up KG Beast and left him in a sewer.
He literally did the whole Cask of Amontillado thing.
Yeah, so essentially, these characters have killed people. It's just the writers have had to sort of fandangle it weirdly. But that's my point. That's what I know. We went really out of left field, but that was a fun discussion. But anyway,
yeah.
My last favorite Batman story is Court of Owls. You can at this point because it introduced a fantastic addition to Batman because here's why. It's a secretive organization that runs Gotham. Here's the key part. Batman didn't know about it, speaking to all the Bat God fans.
Yeah, that's kind of like it was a really good way of establishing stakes. Like, oh, they're so good at being secretive. By the way, check DMs here. They're so good at secretive. Even Batman, they literally had a Talon living in Wayne Tower, living in his home, basically.
And by the way, Nick, that was a sort of, I think that was a flashback scene in Injustice.
Oh, okay.
That makes sense then.
All right. And
Oh,
then
because
if
you know what that was? You know what that was? So
What?
they did. So at some point in Injustice, Superman is like put in a coma, and he has this extended dream sequence, and he imagines how the world would have turned out if he didn't kill the Joker, but that Batman kills the Joker as he's driving him to Arkham,
Oh.
and Batman puts himself in prison because he's like, I killed the Joker, and then Superman's like, he nuked Metropolis. Or actually, I think he had stopped the threat. But the point is like Superman's like, you could get out of here, and everyone thinks you're innocent and stuff. You're totally fine. He's like, no, I'm gonna live my sentence, and I'm like, okay. That's the annoying part about Batman, slightly. But anyway, so what were you saying?
But yeah, so one of my favorites is I got a double header here for my next two.
Okay.
I always love a good Batman crossover, and there's two that I want to highlight. The first one is just like the perfect crossover: Batman versus Predator.
Is that the one where Alfred shoots a predator with an elephant gun? Yes.
And like, yeah, Batman would be a Predator, and I love how like he gets the trophy. And then my next one is like an unlikely one, but it somehow works. Is the first Batman Spawn crossover.
Is that the one by Frank?
Drawn by Todd.
Oh yeah, exactly. You got Batman. You got it's. And by the way, canon to the Frank Miller verse. So apparently, before Dark Knight Returns, Batman fought alongside a Hellspawn. Awesome. I love that. But
the awesome thing is you don't get Todd draw Batman very often, so this is a rare treat.
So much cape. So much cape.
I mean, what did you expect? It's literally the Dark Knight, and Todd McFarlane's phrase is, when in doubt, black it out. I mean, come on.
Yeah, one of the things I love about Batman Predator is actually Sal from Comic Pop expresses. He said that here's how you make a really good Predator movie. Make a good regular movie, and then in the second half, add a Predator. Batman Predator is a good Batman story, and then halfway through it, you throw a Predator in the mix.
Explain.
No, because the best stories are ones that like you don't expect to be a Predator story. It's like if you walk into a Batman Predator, not knowing it's ignore the title. If you just flip through it, it's a Batman crime story, right? And then all of a sudden he's being stalked by a predator. You're like, well, that's
like
cool.
The first Predator movie, where kind of the first third of the movie is almost an entirely different movie.
It's an action. It's a military action movie. The second one is a cop movie.
Stick around.
And then the Predators movie is a dumb movie that never gets good with Predators. Predator. No. Wait. The Predator is what I'm talking about.
Predators, the one with Adrian Brody, is
that one's good. That one's good. I'm sorry, I misspoke. The Predator is the one that's a bad movie that never gets good. Prey is a straight up Native American like movie that has a predator, and I love it.
Prey is extremely solid.
Mm-hmm. Extremely solid. But yeah, and I just love how useful Alfred turns up. He's like, oh my god, he's like, how many times he has saved Bruce, and at this point he's fighting aliens. Because at this point
we need our Samurai Predator movie, please.
Well, yes, thank you very much. But the thing about Alfred is that it's kind of funny. I imagine if this is in any continuity with any of the other DC characters, a Predator shows up in the Batcave, and Alfred's like, "Okay, it's just an average Tuesday."
Excuse me, sir. Are you friend or foe?
Mm-hmm. It's another an honorable, a really weird story is, I forget the title. There's one where Batman is abducted by aliens, and they do the Greys, but no one believes Batman when he says he's abducted by aliens. But the funny part is that he works with aliens.
And then like later on, the question is like, did they probe you?
No, because here's the thing. He's really
The question is literally the only one who believes him.
No, the question is not even in this comic. But the
That
funny
doesn't
part
cry.
is, no, he's not. The funny part is that what they're trying to do, they're trying to capitalize on that fire in the sky hype that people had during like that time period when everyone was talking about alien abductions. But the problem is,
Clark, you're literally an alien.
not only that, hey, what's up, John Jones?
John, you're literally an alien. Coriander, I don't know why you're here, but you're literally an alien.
Cyborg, you're built of alien technology. But the thing is that they were trying to like play off of like, oh yeah, the Greys are the aliens that no one thinks exist. But everyone's like, everyone believes the Dominators exist, Darkseid exists. Well, why would this be any different?
Clark, it's literally like
Your best friend in the whole world, some would say only friend, is an alien from another planet.
Okay, Bruce has other friends. Like he said, like obviously Alfred and Dick Grayson.
Dick Grayson is more of a son.
But the thing is when you kind of like when you're a child and you become an adult, then you become friends with like your parent, and that's kind of the dynamic they have. Is like Dick Grayson is kind of past the hump. He's self-sufficient, so now they can interact more as equals.
Outside of the Bat family, the only person that Batman really has a strong friendship with is Superman, an alien god.
Gordon.
Outside of the GCP, outside of Gotham, I'm trying to justify this, Nick. Stop it. Outside of anything associated with Batman.
Catwoman.
I said anything associated with Batman.
Ra's al Ghul.
Anything associated with Batman.
Green Arrow.
Okay, he's really annoying me right now.
I've been burdened with the gift of knowledge. I'm sorry.
Yeah, call it that. You keep telling yourself that. But that's my point is, before we got on this tangent, Batman works with aliens all the time. How is this? This is the occasion of comic book companies wanting to be relevant, but not realizing that it's just plain stupid when they do it.
Yeah.
It's just really stupid. But so the way I want to end this is, so Nick, speaking of Batman, there's a reason why I wanted to do Batman for the first return of Comic Talk. Is so I recently received in the mail some honestly low tier comic. Like, wow, it's like really like bottom of the barrel.
Really? What crap do you want to show us now?
I don't know. It's this weird thing called Screecher. I don't understand.
That cover. Okay, I'm sorry. I can't, like, you insult my comic.
It's a bit. So this
I'm not
great comic.
My artist. I'm not going to.
No, I'm not. Do not at all, because the art's awesome. Okay, reviewing Screecher. Hell, we talk about it practically every time Nick is on the show. So we got Screecher, issue 2, and I got the obvious Michael Turner inspired cover for obvious reasons, because it's Michael frickin' Turner.
Shout out to Princess Corrigan for doing that cover. She did an amazing job.
Mm-hmm. So what I have is the digital comic pulled up on my computer, and we're gonna like go through it. Nick can give us like behind the scenes input of the book. So let's do this. So by the way, Nick, I love how the opening credits are a memo. That's a great way to like get people immersed in the story.
Oh, scroll to the top, to the In Pharmaceuticals. Does that font seem familiar to you?
Is that the alien font?
That's the BTAS font.
Oh, yeah. Okay. There you go.
Yep, start off strong.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. I recognize this obvious Batman. So he starts off and going, owls are nocturnal. Maybe so, but for an upper middle class girl, 3 o'clock is pushing it. It's obvious Batman Begins. And you also have like a, what's the word? I'm trying to find a mood guitar poster, which is basically an Avatar parody, which I like.
Basically, I made like an Avatar Reddit pun. Like it's supposed to be the last Modvatar, and like the fact that his arrow is orange, you know, like the Reddit orange up or down vote arrow. It's a stupid joke. Like, but like originally it was full on like Avatar, but like some people point out that it might be some infringement, so I decided to put it more into parody territory.
Which that works. I like it, and I love where so she goes to school. She kind of applies. She's like, oh, at least I tried. I'm gonna go. Well, you told me I needed a hobby. I'm gonna go learn Aikido, and
not just from Aikido, but from the same place she learned before.
And obvious reference to Cobra Kai.
I should have worn my shirt.
And the thing about this, when I read the
okay, you want to know, like, okay, so this is more of a Karate kind of Kid reference.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, in the Karate Kid, when Daniel first walks into Cobra Kai, and then like he sees Johnny Lawrence, and Johnny Lawrence sees him and smiles. That's kind of what I was doing here.
Yeah, that works. I like that. That definitely works. Oh yeah, because of like Avery, Chandra, Atlas, Screecher. More on that when we do Comics League Gaming. But the other thing, so when I was reading the pre comic, because I'm part of the Phoenix Press Access Media, so I get all the good I got all the
you were the only shield site we have currently. So
the thing about it is, I was wondering. Originally I was like, so they meet and they automatically start fighting. That seems kind of like quick, and then you address it later in the like a couple of pages after. So I'm like, okay, I get that. I get that. I like that.
It's like read the freaking comic.
Exactly. I was like, okay, let me read this, see if he salvages it. Yeah, he does. He's good. It's good. And I love how jacked her karate master is, and the point where like he's hugging her and he's clearly crushing her, and she's like, the way your art, and even with your artist drawing the motion of Avery's hand, and a lot of this like really, really, really cool stuff.
Yeah, this scene is kind of slightly inspired by Robin Men in Tights when he's getting hugged. He's like, Arr!
Oh yeah, I love that. I love that. We're gonna cover that movie for Comics League one day.
We need to.
I love that movie. I love that movie. Achoo. Bless you.
Also, like, I love this scene just for the scale, just showing how much taller he is than both of them.
Yeah, I know. That's so good. It's like, that dude is freakishly huge, but I'm here for it. That's awesome. And then I like how they both get the phone call that's like calling them into their night work, if you will. And
yeah, you see.
Yeah, which is it's kind of cool, and I like that. I like the whole Screecher cave is really developing here. She has her own oracle, which that's pretty cool. I like that. And then she has her own like the thing about Screecher. One of the things that I really dig, the color scheme works really well for like the sort of younger superhero idea.
Also, speaking of colors, we got a new colorist with this issue, and god dang, do they really earn their keep? Like,
yeah. By the way, I just noticed this right now. I didn't notice the character just hanging out in the bushes over here.
Oh, who is that?
Again, and then it turns out it's essentially the newest like assassin named Shiva, who basically really likes Mortal Kombat, and I half expect her to say, "Get over here."
I'm trying to find a way to work that in, honestly.
That's got to be. You have to find a way some point during a future battle involving Shiva to do that. You of all people, Mr. Pun Man.
For sure.
But I love this because it looks almost 3-dimensional as the chains like wrap around air and then shoot out.
Yeah, so this part, like the enough talk is kind of from Conan, where it's like, but enough talk, and then he throws a knife. Like, that's kind of what I was doing there.
And I love it. But I love the smoke like effect. But I really, but yeah, your colorist, my compliments to the entire art team because this looks fantastic. This looks like a fantastic indie comic.
Yeah, like the lighting alone just is amazing.
Yeah, it has a glow here.
Yeah.
And it's kind of tough to do to actually make something feel like it's glowing, and that does. And
Yeah,
I
sure.
love this fire. Like, your art team like rendered the fire like really, really well because fire in its way is beautiful when you're watching in media.
Yeah, and then if you can scroll back up a little bit, we get the reveal of who Shiva is. Scroll up a little bit, please.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like, as much as I wanted this to be like a big da 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 moment, pretty much everyone guessed it. So I'll take the L there, where I didn't do as good of a job. But
as soon as the cell phones start ringing at the same time, I'm like, okay, I know what he's doing, and then she shows up. But it's fine. You do it. You do it fine here.
okay. But yeah, so
I also like the more contrasting colors between Shiva and Screecher because Screecher has like purple and white. It's very she has more like, I would say, innocent colors, where Shiva has more like colors associated with like violence and death, like black and red for blood and stuff.
yeah, like I was trying to contrast them. Like, for example, Screecher covers the top half of her head, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And her mouth is visible. Shiva covers the bottom half of her mouth and her eyes are visible, stuff like that. And then also, like, design-wise, you notice how Shiva has a bit of an Asian kind of flair to her?
Yeah.
Like, I actually once commented that Shiva design would fit right in with her in Samurai, but like that was kind of by purpose because Chandra is a bit of a bit of a weeb. Like, she's like big into like Japanese and Chinese culture. So like that's why her thing looks like that. And the reason
weeb.
I mean, fair enough. But the reason she's called Shiva is because like the multi-armed god, I literally call it out in the thing. It's because of the rope dart, but like the character called, like, that's why it's like character called Shiva, because the rope dart, which is like Asian. But the reason I chose a rope dart for her is because a rope dart is a very visually interesting weapon, as you literally saw.
Yeah, particularly if it's rendered well. And I want to go back to this because if done well, it looks three-dimensional. And I love where it breaks the borders of the panel.
Yeah, that's just really good. Shout out to Brian Q for just doing that. He's amazing.
That's exactly like Todd McFarlane ran into those same issues when he was doing Spider-Man, and he would do that, and Marvel would go like, "You can't do that. We've always done it this way," and he'd go, "But I'm selling."
he pulled the "I'm making you money" card.
Yeah, but stop telling me how to do my job when you're not a creative person. But anyway, but the rest of it, I'm not going into the plot in case someone wants to start this for their.
I will say, I'm setting up a future comic.
Oh boy! Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Like with the Kai and the the Aquatech and the Bowman stuff, which, by the way, Jared, I have something I want to show you after we finish here. You're gonna love it. But yeah, and then you so the next issue is gonna be a huge big setup for my next comic, Eco Ray.
Oh boy! So you're telling me we're building the Phoenix verse?
Okay, so I realize this is the first time I have publicly stated the name of my universe. It's called the N-verse.
Oh, that's cool. Why'd you pick that name?
My name is Nick.
Oh, okay. I guess okay.
Also, like N-verse, it's like it kind of it's kind of a nice name. It rolls off the tongue well, you know.
Okay, that works. I like that.
It's the N-verse. It's like inverse, kind of stuff. And like there will be some alternate realities, but like I'm not gonna do like there's doppelgangers, but no, in my universe, alternate realities are like different worlds, So like if we travel to another universe, you're not gonna meet Screecher 2.0. Screecher just won't even exist in the other universes.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no like, character's dead, let's get a variant. No, I am not doing that. That is
same thing with mine. And I agree partially with what Eric July says. And as a comic writer, I want to get your opinion on this. He says that one of the biggest mistakes that Marvel and DC did was bring in the multiverse, because then the way they've used it now is they use it as an excuse to write really, really bad stories or characters wildly out of context, because they could be like, it's the multiverse.
Well, here's the thing. The multiverse has literally existed since like the late 50s, because like I think the multiverse was really brought in with the Flash 2 Worlds. Like,
yes, it was. That was it.
And they've done the multiverse for like 50 years, and it's been fun. Crisis on Infinite Earths is a multiverse, and that was 84,
Mm-hmm.
See, I think beforehand, they've always treated multiverses as it's a different world. Like, look at Earth 1, Earth 2,
Mm-hmm.
Earth 2 is just a side where, like, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman don't exist, but you have, like, Our Man, whatnot, and that's fine. And, like, or let's say you want to do, like, a limited series, like Watchmen or Dark Knight Returns, where you're doing a wildly different interpretation, you stick it in the multiverse, and, like, okay, maybe you're doing a multiverse story where you bring in this other character. Like, that's fine. But the problem is they treat it like a crutch. It's a narrative and plot crutch of multiverse. Like, what doesn't make sense? Multiverse, and it is become a crutch for bad writers to get away with stuff instead of being a narrative tool, instead of being other things. It's becoming a narrative crutch, and they've leaned on it so hard, it's just broken comics.
More on this in a future episode of Comics League, because we are definitely going to address the multiverse is a bad thing in one episode. That'd be a fun one to do.
No. By the way, the title of that episode has to be called Multiverse of Badness.
I can put that in the thumbnail. That works. Okay. we'll work on that. But that's a great idea. Okay. So I think that's a good place to leave it. We had some actually nice debates in this episode. We managed to get an hour out of this one. Nice. All right.
Oh, yeah.
And pick up Screecher. I'll have a link to Nick's socials in the description. Nick, where can one pick up your stuff, and where can one find you?
All right. So you can pick up Screecher and Turn Samurai on both Global Comics and Amazon. You can find me on YouTube. You can find me on Twitter, search Phoenix Press. Instagram, I am on Facebook, but it's just basically a mirror of my Instagram, so pick your poison. And then you can also find me on Comics League, where I am making it my life's mission to make Jared's life a living heck.
Thin ice, Nick. Really thin ice.
I love how you knew I was going for a bad joke. You didn't know what, but you still queued it up anyway. Like, I love it.
Yeah, but excuse me, but
zoom tight.
Thank you. And really, and in terms of like what to expect from other comic talk episodes, they won't be all like an hour long. It's just Nick and I had a few great discussions in this one.
I have the gift of gab. What can I say?
Which is fine. It was totally fine. It was a great episode. But a lot of this is going to be like just my commentary show where I can talk about like random stuff. And we'll still be covering indie books, obviously. It's just it won't be like the main purpose of the show. And then in terms of what we're going to, in terms of next Comics League stuff, Under Two Capes this week, we're going to be talking about what comic book, movie, or book projects we're excited for in 2024. Super Wonder Legacy, Britt and I are talking about animation. And in terms... So
you're going to please tell me you're bringing up the Fleischer cartoons.
We probably will, yes. And then in terms of movie night, we are going to be discussing Green Lantern. One of the most underrated DC movies of all time.
You're actually not wrong.
Yeah. Is it perfect? Hell's to the. It's no Zack Snyder's Justice League. Let me put it to you that way. But
dude, that's like the highest of bars. So
yeah, it's also not. It's also not a Joss Whedon's Justice League.
I mean, Green Lantern isn't perfect, but it's no Batman and Robin.
Yeah, but so that's what you have to look forward to. CLD is coming back, and next Thursday is going to be the next members only live stream. So if you want to participate and be on the panel, become a member. You get these episodes a day early. So this will probably be going up on Tuesday, and everyone else just stay heroic, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you.